Hello, couples, and welcome to the Empower Couples podcast, where here you're going to get modern, non-boring relationship advice so that you can communicate like pros, fight smarter, and be connected no matter what challenge comes up in your relationship. And that sounds pretty awesome to me. I am one of your hosts, Aaron Freeman.
And I'm Jocelyn Freeman, and you can just remember us as the Freemans.
And today we are actually talking about, are you feeling disconnected? Mm-hmm. Here's what to do. And Jocelyn, where does this come from?
Well, we always take it from the audience, but literally within 2 hours, I was blown away. 3 DMs came in on Facebook, Instagram, all focusing on disconnection. So I was like, okay, this has got to be a topic. And so one, I'll read to you here, said, what to do when you get disconnected. We're really intense, so when we're close, we're best friends. But sometimes we get into a cycle, and it's hard to get out of being disconnected. It gets bad enough that we want to push away the wedding. That's not what we want. We want to be partners and make it work. And then the other two I won't read, but they alluded to there were distractions. So one person said he's on his phone, he's got his own hobbies. The other person said they are always being productive, like they're glued to their computer or their phone. And so they go all week and they're kind of like, it's quarantine, we're around each other in the house a lot, but we're not actually having connecting time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It just made me think of, I know we are like so focused on production and efficiency over connection.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, let's jump right in. This is already such a great topic, as thank you for your questions and sending them in. So normally we would read a review, but now is the day for the drawing.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you ready for the drawing?
All right, so everyone, we do a drawing once a month for everyone who has written a review, shared about it, and we see it because you tag us on social media. And so we've got a drawing of some names, so thank you for the reviews. We can't reach the couples that we reach without you. And so, yeah, you ready to shake it up, shake the jar?
Yeah, if you're not watching the video version on YouTube of this podcast and you're just listening in here, listen to the shaking of the drawing here.
And this
is some good names in here.
We're sending a Target gift card. So like this is not just like a card, like a, oh, thank you card. No, who doesn't love Target? Come on.
Okay, I have it in my hand.
All right,
and
tell
as
us.
I look down, it's Betty from IG.
Okay, Betty. All right, so if you are the winner, Betty, which is an awesome name, send us a DM with your shipping address. Thank you for the review. Thank you for sharing about the podcast, and you get the Target gift card.
Yes, thank you for listening in. And before we even jump in more to this topic, we have an honest celebration for ourselves.
Should we tell them?
Yes, I think we should. The official announcement on the podcast. Let us know what it is.
Well, we wrote a second book. We signed a book deal at the beginning of quarantine, which we were so grateful for. That blessing. And so we finally announced on Friday the name of the book, and it is called
The Argument Hangover.
The Argument Hangover, Empowering Couples to Fight Smarter and Overcome Communication Pitfalls. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, a couple things we want you to know about this. Number one, you can pre-order it now. And the reason you want to pre-order it now and not wait till it's closer to hitting shelves is because we're actually giving over $200 of bonuses for pre-ordering. We didn't want you to have to wait to have breakthroughs in communication and conflict resolution.
Yeah, a whole mini course, a debrief your conflict workbook, as well as a ticket to what's going to be the largest online Valentine's Day event in February when the book actually launches.
Yes.
We're going to have a live event online with like a chef, and we're going to have music. We're going to be talking about the argument hangover, maybe even bringing in other experts. We haven't even created the whole thing yet, but it sounds like it's going to be awesome. It's going to be like a Valentine's Day date for the two of you. Which would be like on a Sunday, and then people probably go Valentine's Day on Monday.
Yeah, and so everyone, you've got to pre-order this to get the $200. And here's the thing. We celebrated on Friday that we actually hit Amazon #1 new release in one category, and then #2 in another, and #3 in another. So thank you all to those of you who pre-ordered and helped us get that #1 new release on Amazon. That's huge. Like, to just have that be the day we announced pre-orders. So go to theargumenthangover.com. You'll see the retailer that you get to select and want to order from. All of the bonuses, $200. You get access to that course. Don't wait. I mean, it's unbelievable value. So thank you for celebrating with us. Go to theargumenthangover.com.
So now, are you feeling disconnected?
Yeah.
What is there to do? Well, we're going to jump into 3 parts here. We're going to talk about not communication exactly, but we're going to talk about connection. because it can be elusive, right? I've talked about things being elusive, like trust from the previous episode and love. They're kind of conceptual, and I'm seeing this theme where we're getting a sense of what do these terms actually mean, or even so feel, which I think is so important. So we're going to talk about like what is connection, like what's the specific thing, and what happens when there's a disconnection.
Yeah.
Then we'll come in and we'll talk about the actual activities and the things you can do to deepen and grow that connection. So jumping right into it, what is connection really, and what has it kind of fade?
Well, I wanted to first say, because some of you, this might be your first episode that you're going to listen to, we're not going to give you superficial cliche statements like just go on a date. We're going to go deeper into the connection. So I want you to know, like, we always like to make this be very practical, but also like deeper than the cliche things you see online. So connection, well, what's interesting about connection, we were talking about this, we even talk about this a little bit in our book, but in the beginning of a relationship, effort is high. So the effort you're putting into impressing each other, into getting to know each other, into showing that you're curious, that you care, is for the most part, at its highest. And the tricky thing about being human is that things start to become normal to you. Think about the new iPhone that you get. You know, the first day you're obsessed. If anything touches it, you're freaking out. And then a week later, you're just throwing it on the counter. A new car. Oh my gosh, that smell in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then over time, there's trash in the back. So now you might
You
be
haven't
like,
washed it in like 6 months.
exactly. Now you're like, okay, guys, but a car and a phone is not like your partner. But the same thing can happen in a romantic relationship is over time, your effort without focus goes down. Isn't that interesting?
It is. And that means that it doesn't just automatically stay there.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it is easy to feel the love and the trust, to talk about the other episodes past 2 weeks. But now the connection, it is there in the beginning because, as you said, the attention, which we'll go more into, and your effort is there. And that has to continue. And it's not just going to be there. You know, if you assume that it's going to be there, that's almost a surefire way to make sure that it's not going to be there. And it really is like many things in life that I was thinking about today. Like a plant. If you had a garden or even just a plant in your house, it takes attention and intention, which I know you'll go more into as well, to water it, to cultivate it, and it'll continue to grow. If you don't, it's just not going to grow on itself, right? And the same is with simple things. Like you said, the car and the maintenance, or even your house. You know, your house is, maybe you built a new house and you're like, oh, like everything is new and great. What happens? It does start to deteriorate over time, right? It's a building, it's a structure. It just starts to weather, it starts to deteriorate. And it's literally, that's the nature of life though.
Yeah.
That it's always going in and out of form. And you have to have attention to have energy be into something. So anything, literally, I want to get this because it's not just your relationship. Anything in your life that you don't have attention on, then the energy goes away from it. That starts to deteriorate it.
Yes.
Like literally, look at anything in your entire life.
Yeah.
So in essence, this might be a little deeper for the audience. Your attention and your energy is your life force. It's life source. So when you talk about connection in the relationship, it's the fuel of life energy that is between you in the relationship.
I'm feeling your life energy.
That to me is what the connection is. It's having life source and life force and that energy be alive in the relationship, which, as you said already, takes attention.
Yeah. Well, and again, just do a gut check right now. Has your effort gone down? Over, maybe you've been together a year, 5 years, 10 years. Even during quarantine, maybe in the beginning you were like, okay, let's get creative. Let's do interesting dates. Let's do a picnic outside. And then it's now become kind of ordinary and boring and normal. So has your effort gone down now? Effort isn't easy because it takes energy. And a lot of times we're just like kind of running on autopilot, just barely getting by. I mean, how many times do you wake up and it's just like, oh, it's another Monday. Wait, what's that cartoon? I don't even remember, but oh man.
Is it like the Peanuts?
Might be.
Like
yes.
from the movie? Because I don't think they actually talk, right? They say, meow, 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 meow.
Oh. But it's Monday again. So putting your effort into the relationship isn't easy because it requires you to tap into your life energy. Like you said, that takes focus, that takes awareness. I mean, you have to wake up and go, I'm going to create this day. I'm going to create who my partner is today. It isn't just being on autopilot. So just to summarize this connection piece before we go on, connection, as we said, it is related to effort. Your effort is high in the beginning, and without focus and attention, it goes down over time, which when your effort goes down, that means your energy is going down. That means your attention is going down.
The life force
Yes.
starts to, I wouldn't even say be removed, but you put it somewhere else. So when you put it somewhere else, it's almost just like it just starts to fade, right, from the relationship.
Yeah. Well, because one more thing before we go on to then what's missing even a little bit more, why we're not going to just be like, so go on a date for this is because you can go on a date and not be connected.
Yeah.
You could
be around each other 24 hours a day, which a lot of people are right now, and yet still not feel connected.
Yeah.
Isn't that, it's actually kind of a paradox.
And I think you'll say, we're going to at the end, wrap up with what are some ways then that you can fuel that connection. But before, let's go a little bit more into the what's missing. We talked about it a little bit, but let's go deeper. Like what's missing, the first piece is attention. Would you talk a bit more on that?
Well, yeah, attention, as we have been talking about, is how, number one, you show love. We do this in our couples workshop, right? We talk about how attention is how you show love. Who do you need to ask to prove that to yourself? A kid. Why is a kid always trying to get your attention? Because at a foundational level as human beings, how we feel love, how we can even have the ability to feel connection requires the attention of another and requires your own attention. Hence why a kid is trying to grab at your pant leg when you're trying to talk to somebody or wave their arms to say, hey, look at me. Because with your attention, that's how they inherently feel love. So where is the attention out in the relationship? There is this saying that you really can't multitask. Like you really don't ever have your attention on more than one thing at a time. It's just you can move your attention really fast. Hence why it seems like you can give your attention and energy to multiple things at one time, but you really can't. So when you are on your phone, it just struck a chord with somebody. How much are you on your phone versus giving your full attention to your partner?
Yeah.
Probably first place to look.
That's a big, big piece, that attention. And also, I think getting clear on what is the feeling you're really after. Because if you go to your partner and just say, I'm not feeling connected, if they don't understand more of what that means, because maybe that's not their dominant feeling. Maybe it is. I mean, maybe
true.
both of you are aware that you're not feeling connected, but your partner might go, what do you mean? We're around each other all the time. Or we just had dinner together last night. How do you not feel connected? So if you're the one feeling disconnected, you got to ask yourself, like, what's the feeling that's really missing for me? And one thing we were talking about was, it's also getting more clear, like, is it in the essence of like friendship? Because in a romantic partnership, in a marriage, right, there's the friendship part of your relationship, right? Which is creating memories together, laughter, play, confiding in each other, having each other's support.
It makes me think of lightheartedness,
Yeah.
too. I think there's a certain level of when you're with a friend, it's kind of lighthearted. You might be having jokes, as you said, the laughter. There's a certain level of things aren't as significant.
Yes.
And it is easy in a relationship to feel additional significance about things, or maybe you've made comments, and going back to a previous episode, criticism, giving a lot of feedback, even though feedback is intent on support. So I think the friendship piece, why a lot of couples say, I feel like, we love each other, but I want to feel like best friends again.
You know what? It reminded me, I did a relationship breakthrough session with one of the partners last time. Once in a while, we'll talk to just one partner. We love it when we can talk to both. But she was saying she wasn't feeling that best friends. And we distinguished that because I was like, okay, is it the romance side of the relationship that's not feeling connected? But it was for her friendship. She wanted to laugh together. She wanted to feel joy. She wanted to turn on music. She wanted to go to the lake together. And so that was the big piece. So there is that friendship side of connection, and then there is the romantic side. So for you, is it more of like your intimacy? Is it the sexual side of your relationship? Is it being able to be curious about each other? Is it more of the maybe deeper conversations that you're missing? Is it like the essence of romance, like spontaneity, curiosity? So in order for you to talk to your partner about it, you've got to get more clear for yourself on what's missing for you that's not having you feel connected.
Yeah, I want to say that's a really smart thing to first look for yourself. Okay, I don't feel connected. You could even look at it as a category. Am I in the friendship kind of thing is missing, meaning lightheartedness and playfulness and laughter, or is it in the romantic side? Could be sexually, could be level of conversation or understanding. And so you can do that on your own, which is a really smart place. But I just thought of this. You could also bring that up to your partner. So if you've been feeling, hey, I don't feel connected, don't leave it as a sort of blame or open-ended thing. Because the other partner's like, what do you want me to do with that? Like, I mean, I felt connected. We went on that date. We watched a movie last night, like whatever it might have been. So have it be more of an inquiry that says, hey, I haven't been feeling connected and I'm not sure what that is yet. So invite your partner into a conversation on, I'd like to get more clear on what that is for me and then maybe for yourself as well.
Yeah, and I would think, going back to a couple of the messages that we received where the two in particular talked about their partner being distracted with work, with their phone, which, by the way, a lot of times is a coping mechanism for the stress in the world right now. So it's like, I'm going to just kind of keep myself so busy so that I am not focused on how I'm stressed out. You know, either financially or what's going on with politics or anything like that. So anyway, going back to, they were feeling like their partner was distracted. And so what's missing there, we talked about attention, but it's also like, I want to bring up the word presence. Do you feel like you're present? Because again, you could be together. So like, imagine you two sat down to have dinner together. And you're there, and maybe even your phones are away, but some of you probably have your phone still at the table, which you shouldn't do. But what I was
like this, it's like you're with your partner,
and then you see a ding, and you're looking down,
and then like you see the light, and it's like, oh, I just want to look at it. Who messaged me?
Totally, those alerts are distracting.
Can you feel that actually?
Oh yeah.
It's almost like an invisible like pull. Isn't that crazy? Like we know that the phones have like electromagnetic pulse, like a field, but it's almost like when it's over there. Don't you feel like your body just wants to grab it? Like,
oh yeah,
I want to know who messaged me.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of people are addicted to their phones. It's like a dopamine hit. It's the attention.
It's true, it is, yeah.
So anyway, we digress, right? So you're at dinner together, whether your phone is there or not, because that's one piece of distraction. You can feel like your partner is not present. And that's, it's almost like they're just going through the motions. Oh, how was your day? Oh, it was good. Oh, how was that Zoom meeting you had? It was fine. Okay. And then you're like, what do I ask next? And
well, something I just got in your actual, how you were acting that out, what gets in the way of connection is often your mind.
Yes.
I could be sitting here with you, but if my mind is on having to complete tasks, actually this was another one from a coaching session that we had where they were doing a workshop module from one of our courses, and though he was sitting down there, it was like she could tell that he wasn't, as you said, present.
Yes.
Which he then sort of like, he didn't admit as in blame, but he said it was true. He was thinking about the number of things he wanted to get done for work still. So in a sense, the connection is missing if the mind gets in the way and the mind is off somewhere else. So don't just think of your physical body. Maybe that's one of the things. Connection isn't just really about your physical body.
Yeah, like being by, like it's not just physical presence.
Totally. Yeah. So connection really takes, as we said, attention and presence. So in this topic, we're talking about what has you feel disconnected or what's missing, what's in the way. Just look, is your mind going other places?
Yeah, so key. And that even be something to like ask each other is, hey, when we're having dinner together, do you feel present? And that's something we can all work on as human beings, like being present in the moment. Are you here right now? Are you enjoying this moment? And that's where I think meditation has really been of service to us, that the past is in the past, the future isn't here yet. So are you here in this moment? So before we move on, just remember, like, what's missing if you're feeling disconnected is attention, presence, like your actual mental, emotional presence in this moment. It's identifying, is it the friendship piece that's messing, like the joyful, the laughter, the confiding in each other, the creating memories, or is it more of the romantic side, going deeper, sex, intimacy, creating a family together, like that romantic side?
And one more thing, we didn't say it exactly this way, a break in routine.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I've discovered for myself as I share with you the past 2 weeks. It's a part of this routine, though we had this new book come out and it went, #1 new release. Like that day was really fun. And for like our live shows we do on Fridays, like, oh, that's really fun. And then during the week, it's almost like I'm waiting for those things to come. So it's been so routine because, here we are in the office and we're doing our podcast, which these activities I love. And the rest of it, just because we're home so much. And in Arizona, we're still kind of like in another quarantine where like gyms are still closed and things like that. It's this internal pressure for me on things being routine, which I'm not like internalizing as making it so personal. I'm just looking at, okay, here's this internal pressure that I feel. I don't even feel connected to like people as much. And that's because of the routine of being in the house has had me feel this sort of diminished sense of life energy flowing, going back to that principle too. So all that being said, as you get clear for yourself or with your partner, is it just a break in the routine?
Yeah, that's key for sure. Okay, so that's even like a bonus one to ways to grow the connection. So breaking the routine is huge. And then first off, we always believe in, if you're wanting to create something in the relationship, first create the intention. So you two have to declare it together. So don't just leave it at, we feel disconnected.
Right.
You're going to just keep creating more disconnection if that's all you say. So follow that up with, okay, together, let's set the intention of connecting. And just by doing that, you're now giving your mind your ability to focus on creating more of that. Like your subconscious mind will actually start to go to work on creating more connection.
That's right. Can I jump in on something there? That was so smart that you said that. Your subconscious mind, or even emotions that you have. Emotions are an impulse to act. So all too often when you're thinking of how are we going to be more connected, you start to think of actions. But if you think about being, this is a personal development thing, right? Like being means your attitude at its most basic. That's probably the best way to say it, simplest way. But being is your internal state, right? How you're being. How is your internal energy? How is your internal state? What's your emotional state? Your feelings, your thoughts, and your thought process, right? Everything happening in here. Who and how you're being has an impulse of energy in your body. It's that impulse that drives you to act. So if you continue to say things like, we're disconnected, how you're being is that we're disconnected. How you're being is, I wish we were connected, meaning you feel that there is a lack of it. So that emotion is going to impulse a certain action. And it's that impulse to act that you really want to look at. Because if you believe that you're disconnected, you're going to continue to take actions that are correlated to being disconnected.
Whoa.
You're going to maybe complain a little bit more, or maybe you just feel the sense of uneasiness.
You withdraw your energy.
That's right. You might isolate yourself, and you might do things more on your own, right? So none of those actions lead to you then feeling more connected. So you have to start with, getting back to where I even wanted to go, you have to create your being as already connected.
Yes. Boom. All right. That's good.
Because it's in that. Okay. So even if it's not there, okay, let me sit. Ooh, I'm connected with Jocelyn. Now, it's not about a singular action like going on a date, because that's where people get into trouble. Oh, we just go on a date, which you can, and then still feel disconnected. How is that possible? Well, because it's not about the action. It's about the being. It's about the impulse that drove the action.
Yeah.
So, and that being said, if you create the beingness of being connected, the actions are now unlimited, not constrained at all. You could basically now let come to you almost any new activity maybe you've never thought of that would lead to then you feeling more connection.
I love that. Okay, so with that being that intention of connection, which is a new place to focus, from there, some tangible things that you can also do from that beingness first is make sure you're creating boundaries for quality time. So for those of you who did say we feel disconnected because we're working or we're on our phones all the time or then the TV's on at night, you actually have to create containers 4 times for more meaningful conversation. Because again, just going through the motions and asking how each other's day was and what you want for dinner, that quality of conversation is not going to lead to feeling connected. So it could be a boundary, no technology. You hear us say this a lot, but no technology after a certain time, or maybe your mornings are time you have sit out in the patio and have coffee and ask meaningful questions. You actually want to schedule that time in, create that boundary, create that block for you. Otherwise, it's like a week has gone by and you're like, all right, we were around each other, but didn't actually get quality time together. Anything more you want to say about that one?
Well, no, I wanted to ask you a question.
Okay.
So the audience can actually get to know you more and like maybe hear a story from you also.
Yeah.
So rather than give this next point, I want to introduce it with a question.
Okay.
How for you does vulnerability, daring, and scary lead to more connection?
Ooh, okay, good. I like how you framed it as a question. I know that when we have a conversation that is more vulnerable, like I hear something new about what you're going through. We went on our like little hike at 5:30 in the morning in Arizona Sunday, and you were sharing something that you're going through, you're discovering, you're processing through. And for me, that connection helps me feel like I'm knowing something about you now and what you're going through in life. And so sharing vulnerably is really, really powerful. And I feel this heart connection. I feel like our hearts are connected. Our emotions are connected. I feel that friendship, that I'm your confidant and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And so that's a big piece. And then the other thing is, one of the reasons I feel you and I, for the most part, stay connected, I'd say, sure, we have our hours or days where maybe we're not generating that energy and that aliveness. For the most part, we always are connected. One of the reasons out of all of these that we talked about is I think we're always focusing on what we can do out of our comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And so, there's the presence and there's the attention and there's the being vulnerable with each other, but there's also like pursuing something together. Mm-hmm. And you brought up routine and so many couples are in such a routine and a rut. They're not pursuing a new goal together or a new hobby or something scary. Like, is there something that you've always wanted to start together and you haven't been because it's always like, oh, later. There is no later, there's right now. Wow. And so a way you two can connect is pursuing something scary together, pursuing something new and fresh. So is there an audacious goal that you two can set?
Audacious now, yeah.
We're bringing up some good words here.
Well, it is a good reminder too, and this is going to be a little more straightforward for the audience. And it really ties into, I think, a secondary or third or fourth benefit of our book, The Argument Hangover, and actually seeing conflicts differently and not avoiding them and actually getting in them together rather than, the argument hangover being that period of time from when you had a conflict and emotion escalated or you had disconnection to the time that you actually emotionally fully reconnect. Mm-hmm. It's that time period, right? And we call it the argument hangover because largely you feel disconnected, you feel lethargic, low energy. You may even, like an alcohol or food hangover, wish that you didn't take some actions that you did initially. So that's the argument hangover period. Now, conflicts in themselves, I think, do exactly what you're saying. You can't avoid tension or conflict or stress because you need a certain amount of that to be progressing. So when you say create something bigger than yourself, naturally to evolve and progress forward towards that, you're going to have a certain tension that's driving you forward to that. Yeah. So this is another straightforward part for couples, and I don't want to blanket statement this, but we have talked to some couples that say things like, well, we've never had a conflict or a fight like in 10 years. And I have to really check that out and say one of two things. are you really up to that much? Like, is your goal just to kind of like
Get by,
like maintain the house and like pay the bills? And if that is, I mean, that's okay, but you are going to have the feeling of challenge if you're striving for something. And if you're not really striving for something, like, yeah, of course you're not going to have challenges. The other thing I just will say as a side note, for some of those couples that say, oh, we haven't had a fight, maybe you have been suppressing like your true feelings about something.
Yeah.
So I just want to invite some couples to open that side of it up too. So basically, conflict is good when you're on the same side. The vulnerability to doing something scary, to set an audacious goal, and to allow, conflict or not knowing how to do something. Let that be there. Don't let the mind come in and like confuse you. But in that space, that's when innovation and imagination can really be allowed to come to the surface. And I'm already getting excited. Like in our relationship, when we allow what most people internalize as confusion just be the swirling of life and the elements, the non-physical that create form, we're creating. And when we're creating, we are super connected.
Yeah, I love that. I want to go into that a little bit too. There is the piece of conflict for sure, because that gets you out of your comfort zone. It gets you alive. You're not suppressing things. But I love that piece on also just getting out of your comfort zone. So is there something you two can, create together? A goal? Is it a business? Is it a hobby? Is it that you want to do something around the house? Is it this new skill you've always wanted to learn?
How about just have your like life feel like some aspect of your life you get to recreate?
Something. So that's one thing to definitely grow your connection, is to be up to something together. It could even be a health goal, something you're bonding over. So that's the connection. And then
one more quick thing before you go into that, that's one of the powers of the Argument Hangover book. So again, just to put that out there, because we're so proud of, it's literally going to be the life's work that we put together up to this point. And to set these audacious goals, to know that conflicts are coming and you can actually leverage them. This Argument Hangover book is going to be so, so key. So go to theargumenthangover.com now and pre-order your copy. We have some great, great bonuses on the mini course, the Debriefing Your Argument workbook, as well as then the ticket for the event. And so you want to make sure you get those bonuses.
I love that. I love how proud you are of it.
Oh, man, I'm really feeling it.
Yeah. And it's going to make such a difference. Okay. Last one, and then we'll wrap up here, is how connected are you to yourself? Because if you want to grow your connection as a couple, how can you do that if you're not connected to you? Are you meditating? Are you going on walks alone? You've got to feel connected to who you are and your emotions. And a lot of people right now are suppressing the stress that they're under. They're feeling pressure financially, or again, politics, whatever's going on. And so in a way, they're kind of numbing out. And they're just kind of getting by and on autopilot. And so if you're not connected to you and not loving yourself and checking in on how are you, having those inner dialogues with yourself and taking care of you, like self-care, you won't have the energy to connect with the other person's energy. So one of the ways to grow your connection as a couple is to make sure you're connected to yourself. Anything more you want to say about that?
Well, another question came to me to ask you. Some couples, I think, and maybe we do too, see like separation as the opposite of connection. But when you talk about connecting to yourself, it does take a certain level of separateness. Maybe say some for yourself how taking some time for separateness actually leads to connection.
I actually love that, because there is like a spectrum, right? You don't want to be so close together where you have no individuality, no individual alignment, and then you don't want to be too separate. And so there is, and it's fluctuating. You're not going to always be in one place on that spectrum. It's going to move through seasons, circumstances. And so having that separateness allows for you to tune into yourself. It allows for you to connect to yourself emotionally. Like, how are you? What are your desires and your goals? Is there any place that you're not feeling like you know yourself and what you need? Like, are you checking in on your own needs? So I find that for myself, and that's why I love our mornings of meditation and journaling and listening to, things like we're connecting to us in our center, in our core, in our personal essence, so that we aren't then like necessarily needing each other.
Oh.
We more so are so full ourselves, and then we are able to desire each other.
Oh, I was actually transmitting the word desire to you, or at least I felt like that word desire was right here. That's exactly what I was thinking too.
What about for you? Anything you'd say about that question?
No, you just said it exactly right. And, it's funny how when we set the topics for the podcast, that they literally show up. We'll be honest, the day that we do it, which this is a Monday, this podcast comes out on Tuesdays. And today, I was feeling like a need for some separateness just for myself. And we go on these walks together, which has always been there. And I didn't communicate it like ahead of time. It was more momentary. But today I said, hey, I'd like to go on a walk myself. So that was what I was called to connect with myself, to just walk in nature, even like be more silent, right? And not that we're obligated to talk on the walk, but I was just kind of like with life.
Yeah.
And by doing that, there was like an hour and a half I was by myself. I had this strong desire after that. I was so energized. I had gotten some 3 new insights. I felt like I was having a breakthrough, and I just could not wait to share it with you.
Aww.
This was probably the biggest time I've ever felt this, like getting some separateness, not just to avoid something from you, separateness to connect more with myself. And the more I connect with myself, the more I want to share myself with you. So that separateness over a short period of time drew me back to want to be connected with you.
I love that. It can seem like it's the opposite. And so perhaps people who are feeling like they're not connected yet around each other a lot,
right? Smart,
is maybe they're not having that energy flow because they're not getting any alone time. They are so fixated on work, their phone. Even being on your phone alone is not going to fill your cup.
Oh, no.
Right. So you can't be like, oh, but I have alone time, but I'm playing a game on my phone. You've got to do something that's actually nurturing yourself, fills your tank, fills your cup. And so that then you have that energy, that life force to give to your partner and your experience together.
Whoa.
For that togetherness time.
Wow. It just made me think of this too. Couples, because they're around each other so much, might say, I don't have anything new to talk about.
Right.
If you want something new to talk about, I think that's what separateness brings. If you actually allow yourself to be in the silent with yourself, slow the mind down, slow the thoughts down, just like start to notice what is in the body, the sensations, the emotions, the feeling. That's when you discover new things.
Yeah.
And that's how you could have new conversations.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so we said a lot
Ooh,
here.
I was feeling this
we
one.
We covered
this turned
a
out
lot
awesome.
of places. All right, so make sure you go back, and if you need to re-listen to any of these parts, right, because we covered what is actually connection. Like, what's the essence of connection? It's not about time together. It requires effort. We talked about what could be missing, and we talked about identifying the deeper feeling that you're looking for. Is it more of that friendship element, the romance, and then ways to grow your connection. We covered a lot of bases, so if you need to go back and re-listen, because here's the thing, don't just have this be a nice podcast you listen to and you don't implement any of them. If you took even one of these points and implemented it this week, it will make a difference. So make sure you write one down, talk about it together ideally, take action on it, and send us a message. Tell us how it's going. We respond to every DM that we get on social media. Find us on Instagram. Meet the Freemans is our handle. And send us a note how you're connecting. And if you have any more questions, we're happy to answer those. Anything more you want to say?
No, I was just thinking of the summary in one words for each of those last points on how to connect.
Okay.
So for you listening, you have intention, right? One word summary for each point. Intention, then you have boundaries, then you have vulnerability, then you have self.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
So with that said, send us a message. We love to hear it. And you can request topics for future episodes. Make sure that you're letting us know what you want us to cover. Go to the Argument Hangover, you guys. Oh my gosh, can't wait for you to get the bonuses.
And review again, because we do a drawing each month. We just did it today. So reminder, Betty on IG, you won the drawing. So reach back out to us via Messenger, and then we can get your address and send you your gift.
All right, everyone. We love connecting with you all.
Oh, hello.
Talk to you and connect with you on the next episode.